Now this makes a little bit more sense than the Lotus Electra fully electric SUV in my opinion, and judging by Lotus's previous vehicles. It's called the Emeya, and it's basically a rival for the Porsche Taycan. Fully electric, 4-wheel drive, awesome performance, and a stunning design. There are 3 variants on sale in Australia, including the base model, the S, and the R. The R comes with a 905 horsepower twin motor setup, crazy amount of power, while the S and the base model feature a 450 kilowatt or 600 horsepower twin motor setup as well. It does offer record-breaking charging as well, up to 430 kilowatts, which is just insane. The biggest charger I've seen, or the most powerful charger I've seen in Australia, is 350 kilowatts. I don't know what they're aiming for here with this kind of charging. I think it's more about boasting the capability. And Lotus is now mostly owned by Geely in China, so they own a 51% stake in the company. And they've got some awesome technology coming. So there's no doubt, there's no question about the technology capability of this company. And the technology in this new Emeya is awesome compared with any of its rivals. 800 volt system, and up to 430 kilowatts of charging power is just absolutely incredible. I think it does 10 to 80% charging in like 14 minutes or something ridiculous, which is, breaks the record. We only had the opportunity for a short drive during this event, about 20 minutes. It was a bit of a pretty boring loop, to tell you the truth. But it was deserted, so we can, give it a bit of a crack along the straight bits. I did do a 0 to 100 for you. I didn't bring the V-Box along, or I did actually bring it, but I didn't bother hooking it up because just not the right conditions to do a proper timed run. But at least you get a bit of a sample of what it's like doing 0 to 100. Basically, they've designed the lineup so the entry model comes with a lot of features and so on, but the S bundles in all of the most interesting and innovative luxuries and bonus features, so you don't have to option them up as you would in the entry model. But you still get the same performance and same battery and everything between the entry and the S. 105 kilowatt hour battery, which is pretty big for today's standards. A range of up to 609 kilometers, which is awesome. That's getting up there. And then 0 to 100 in 4.15 seconds for both the entry and the S model. The R slashes that time down to 2.78 seconds, which is insane, but not quite as insane as some of the rivals. So the Porsche Taycan Turbo S, not even the GT, that could do 0 to 100 in 2.5 or 2.6 seconds with less power. So I don't know what's going on there. I think the weight would probably be the main reason for that. I'm just checking over the spec sheet here, and they're being very crafty by not listing the normal curb weight. It says maximum permissible weight or laden weight, which is basically when you fill up the car with passengers and so on, of 3,100 kilograms, technically permissible max laden mass. So yeah, obviously this is going to be a heavy vehicle. It's not in the Red Book yet, which is where I usually get my stats from. So we don't know how much it weighs. Wikipedia says 2,550 kilograms, which is the same as the Electra SUV. For me, that's way too heavy for a sports sedan, but it doesn't feel too heavy on the road. It definitely feels very solid. Let's jump to the POV test drive now. I'll try and book one of these in and do a full performance test as soon as I can. Yeah, so this is basically like a Porsche Taycan rival, luxurious grand touring sedan. One thing I do really like is this interior layout. It's a nice design, very unique. Check out these speaker grills. They're like a little turbine fan in the middle. It feels luxurious too, like you've got soft Alcantara style of trim everywhere, leather across the top of the dash. It definitely feels like an expensive, high quality product. There's no squeaks or rattles inside here either. The ride quality is beautiful as well. And this is not a completely smooth road. You've got a few patches and so on. And it's just catching the bumps, absorbing the bumps. It seems like there's a decent amount of wheel travel within the wheel arches. The only thing I'm not enjoying is, of course, the modern safety tech. So this does come with a driver monitoring camera, and it's already beeped at me saying I appear tired, and it's got all sorts of warnings and things going off if I don't stay perfectly parallel in the lane.
On the left here, you've got an adjustment toggle for the regen, so you can go plus, you pull the top of the paddle for higher pressure regen or more braking pressure, and then you hit the bottom of the paddle for lower regen. And on the right hand side, you've got the drive mode toggles. Now obviously this doesn't have a gearbox, so you can't use paddles to change gears, but it is good to see Lotus including some sort of engagement through these paddles. Let's just do a little 0 to 100 run just here. I am slightly uphill, but just to give you a bit of an idea. We'll do a full test later on. And that's 100. It seems to have heaps of top end. Like it took off nice and gradual, but then as we approached sort of 60, 70 kilometers an hour, it really started to gather speed. There was heaps of G-force as well. As with a lot of EVs, this has got awesome roll-on acceleration. So I'll just slow down to about 40 kilometers an hour. No cars behind me, already I'm in sport mode. Yeah, it just picks up speed relentlessly. Nothing like a petrol engine that you have to wait for it to rev out. But obviously there's no noise. There's this very faint hum, and then just the wind noise of the air rushing over the body. It is very quiet though. There's no noise around that mirror, even if I pick up some speed. Yeah, it's a very refined drive, but yeah, no engine sound obviously. On first impressions, it feels like a quality product. It's unique and exotic. It also feels solid on the road. I'm just not a fan of these safety systems. It just doesn't seem to mesh well with the Lotus brand. But obviously they have to apply all these technologies in order to pass the latest restrictions and regulations. We'll try and book one of these in for a full review and a 0 to 100 performance test as soon as we can.